What's going on, everybody? Alex here, Nickens Lawn and Landscape. Hope everybody's doing well. I just wanted to pop in here real quick and show you guys my aeration and overseeding equipment. I don't do a ton of aeration and overseeding, but I do offer it as a service, and we do quite a few throughout the year. It's just not one of our main services, but like I said, we do offer it and we do like them whenever we get them. We just don't go out there and go crazy trying to find them. But with that being said, we still need the proper equipment to get the jobs done. So we are fully equipped to aerate and overseed. One of the biggest questions I hear when people are talking about aeration and overseeding over the past couple of years is walk behind or stand on or even a pull behind. I've personally used the walk behinds and the pull behinds. Both of those work great. The pull behinds do work good. The problem with those is you need a four-wheeler or some kind of tractor to pull them. A zero turn will pull them, but it shouldn't. It's not good on the pumps. It's not really good on anything. So I know a lot of people do them, and I even did it myself. That's how I did it whenever I had my pull behind. I had a 36-inch Ryan, and I did pull it with my Ferris zero turn. But like I said, it's not meant to do that, and it isn't good for the pumps. So if you can get away from doing that, I would do so. Like I said, use a four-wheeler or some other type of small tractor or something that's built more for pulling heavy things. The walk behinds are great too. That's been my go-to pretty much always for aeration. I did have the pull behind, but I also had a walk behind, and I've always ran the Ryans. I had a Class in 2 18-inch, basically the same as the Ryan, but I did like the Ryans better. They just seem to handle a little bit better and are a little smoother while you're actually pulling the plugs. The Class in, I don't know, it just didn't seem as stout to me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It was a good unit. It did pull good plugs, and the Class that I had was actually newer and nicer, but the Ryan, I had an old beat up Ryan, and that thing was just a tank. And then last year I got one of those 26-inch Ryan pull behinds. I actually just sold it yesterday on Craigslist to a guy, but I bought that and I liked it. That thing was just so heavy. It was a pain in the butt to move around, to get on and off the trailer and stuff. Just wasn't ideal, but I did have that as my only aerator for last year. And aside from the money and everything else, I truly believe that aeration is the single most important thing you can do for a healthy lawn. You can spray for weeds, you can fertilize, you can do all that stuff, but if you don't aerate and properly overseed, you're doing all that stuff, which is going to be nice, but it's not going to fill in right. You do have to put more seed down. Dethatching is also a very good process, but like I said, I believe hands down aeration and overseeding is the single most important thing you can do for a healthy lawn. Now that's enough of me talking. Let's get into this equipment. I got something new I want to share with you guys. What do we have? What's your guess? New piece of equipment right behind my head. We got the Z-Spray for seeding, and we got a Lawn Solutions stand-on aerator. I picked this guy up on Craigslist. I bought it, no one even knows about this. I haven't put it on Instagram or anything. But I bought this thing probably 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, and I literally brought it home, pulled it straight in the corner of my shop, and that's where it sat until today. I pulled it out and I aerated my front yard, and I checked all the fluids and everything, made sure she was ready to rock. But what this is the Toro Aerator basically. So Lawn Solutions came up with the idea, and Toro bought it from them, and they changed a few things. These Lawn Solutions had axle problems real bad. They had one on the right, one on the left, and they were both having issues. So when they sold out to Toro, Toro took over the problem. So these Lawn Solutions were allowed to be fixed under warranty by Toro mechanics or by certified Toro dealers. So this one has had both axles fixed. It's got 252.8 hours on it. So, and it's got the Kawasaki engine. It is really dirty right now, but it's not a bad unit at all. It's not scratched up, you know, or beat up or nothing like that. There's no bends or broken welds or anything like that. It's a really stout machine, and for the price I picked it up for, there was no way I was passing it up. It popped up on Craigslist, and I called the guy right away and told him I wanted to come take a look at it, and I went there the next day. So that should be a big time saver. And like I said, I sold that other walk behind, the 26-inch Ryan. I'm going to try to find a 19-inch Ryan or a Class in if I have to, but I'd really like to find another Ryan. But I want one of those to get into gate and to trim up around the houses and sidewalks and things like that, so I don't have to get this too close. And as you guys that have stand-on aerators know, let me show you. So that's the tine setup. You can't see it the best, but that's the tine setup in there, okay? So you got probably 4 inches between the tine and this steel wall right here before the tire. Okay, so you got about 4 inches there, and then you've got the tire. So, you know, when you drive, your tire can only get so close to buildings and things, and you're basically, you know, where your tire's going and where that gap is on the inside, you're missing about, I don't know, probably 14 inches, I would say, up against things. And those walk behinds, you can get basically right up to them. There might be like 4 inches or 5 inches, but these, there's a lot bigger gap, you know, on, like I said, sidewalks, fences, buildings, you know, what have you, whatever obstacle you got, you can only get so close with these stand-ons. But other, you know, aside from that, which that's not even really a problem, but aside from that, I think this is really gonna increase our productivity for aeration. Aeration is one of those things, it's not, you don't dread it, but it's like, oh crap, you know, we got to do aerations, I better eat healthy this week, right? You know, it's one of those things that is very physically demanding. So hopefully this machine changes that and allows us to not only get done quicker, but to be more energized when we're finished, or be less drained at the end of the day. And then the Z spray, this is the 36-inch junior model. I'll show you here. Junior 36, and oh, it's hard to do on hand. There we go. This guy has, oh, there you go. That's cool. The hour meter's broke. Well, we need to get that replaced. But I know it's got like 755 hours. It was, I just sprayed last week, or fertilized, sprayed a little bit, not much at all. But I used it last week and it had 750 hours. And I used it a couple hours that day. Yeah, and that was in the morning. So yeah, it's probably about 755 hours, but I do need to get that replaced. But this one's got the booms that come out on both sides for spraying, and those are spring loaded, so if you hit a tree or something, it goes right back in. Those are nice. Spreading capability is great. I do love how it's got these pockets back here for your fert or for your seed. A seed bag in there is not very secure. Those will fall out, but if you have a little bit of seed, you can stick it in there. But a fert bag goes in there no problem, and then it holds about 100 pounds of fert in there. So definitely a good unit, and definitely 100% an overkill for seeding, but I've got it. I don't have any kind of other motorized seeder. I have a Lesco that I'll be using for backyards too, but hopefully I won't have to use that very much. These two will be my main horses. This will be my money-making duo for aeration. And real quick, I found something cool whenever I was pulling these out that I want to show you guys. That is my first sign I ever had for a truck, and that was before I even had a logo. I wanted it to have some grass in it, and I didn't know how I wanted it or anything, and I sat there with the guy for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, and this is what we came up with. So really, it's not that far off of what I have now. Different name, but it's really not that far off. So I thought that was pretty cool to find that and to show you guys. That was 4 years ago, I think. My first year I didn't have anything. My second year I got those magnets. Third year I got some other magnets. And then last year I finally got vinyl decals on the truck, and those are so much better. I actually bought a set of magnets one time. Driving home from the place, it was like 15 minutes away. Driving home I lost a magnet. Went back, tried to find it in the ditch or on the side of the road or something, never found it. So right there I was out. I think it was like 30 bucks per magnet. And that's kind of whenever I said that's the last straw. I'm done. I want some real lettering on my trucks, and that's when I went and did that. Like I said, I went through a lot of sets of magnets and never had to redo a truck, knock on wood. Only reason I would have to is if I got in an accident or something, which hopefully that does not happen. And as far as running these pieces of equipment, it's super simple. The aerator's super simple. The Z spray is a little bit more confusing until you get used to it, but this aerator, I'll show you real quick, is very simple. You got your key, choke and throttle obviously, and then you got this, which is your pressure gauge. Turning this changes your PSI, and you got a dial right here. When I aerated the yard today, I was aerating at about 650 PSI, I think is a little bit higher than you're supposed to. I don't know exactly what it is. I want to say 600, but I'm not positive on that. But I was aerating at 650 and it was pulling decent little plugs, and it is super, super dry. So for it to be pulling any kind of plug that stayed solid, I was pretty happy. I know whenever it's wet, this thing's going to pull them great. It's a heavy unit. And to get the tines to drop, all you do is depress this button right here with your foot. So you just stand off it whenever you're going, and then whenever it's time to aerate, boom, you hit the button. Simple as that. I mean, it can't get much easier. The only thing I could say about this is that if someone was new on it, or they didn't understand how it worked or something, if you pressed it while you're going across some concrete or a driveway or something, you could really screw some stuff up. But I think as long as you pay attention, that's not going to happen. And as long as you educate your operators, if you're not running it yourself, you'll be in good shape. Now, as far as the Z-Spray, it's set up pretty much the same way. You got a parking brake, you got a choke, you got a throttle, and you got your key. And then you got all these guys here. And then you've got these three here. You've got this, which is just some of your pressure. There's your PSI gauge on that one right there. Same setup. And you've got this here for your spreader control. This will keep your sprayer on or off at all times, which I keep it off at all times. And then down here, you can barely see it, that little red guy back there in the corner. You press that and that's what makes it spray. So you've got these, basically these three that run the spreader and the deflector. You've got this pressure knob, which will show up on this gauge right here in your PSI. You've got these that shut off certain sprayers. You've got this to control your spreader motor. So these four here are for your spreader. This up here is for your sprayer. This is for your sprayer. And then you got your button down there. So yeah, the Z-Spray is a little bit more of a mouthful, but it is pretty easy to learn, and you don't use all the stuff that much. You kind of got a couple that you use all the time and a few of them that you don't use much. But all in all, both pieces of equipment are very easy to run. They're both the stand-on types with the levers up, you know, on the control panel, which is pretty simple to run. I mean, anybody after 20 or 30 minutes can kind of get the hang of it and get it figured out. So that's it for this one, guys. Appreciate you watching. As always, I appreciate the support. Be sure to show that like button some love if you enjoyed this video. Also, subscribe if you have not already. We post a lot of lawn care and landscape related videos, and we try to post videos that help you guys. So if you got any suggestions, please leave those down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys and what you want to see. I always do videos that I think people want to see, but you never know what they want to see until they tell you. So if you guys got any suggestions, please leave those down below, and I will try my best to get to them.